Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to this annual flag raising of the Pan-African flag at the College of New Jersey. We're so excited to have you, and we want to thank you in advance for your attentiveness and your time on this afternoon. Without further ado, I would love and welcome the opportunity to welcome President Foster, who will give us our opening remarks. President Foster.
Thank you, Mr. Carter, and good afternoon all. So I'm honored to offer opening remarks at this 2021 Black History Month flag raising. Thank you to the organizers, the speakers, the participants today, and also for the many opportunities to come. This is a day of celebration and commemoration. It's an opportunity to live and learn, to reflect on Black history and on the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. We do so in a monumental year, a no turning back reckoning of images and truths that demand our attention. We see gaping racial inequities across the nation and world. We learn of significant racial and economic differences in the incidence and outcomes of the coronavirus. We read that rich countries are buying up the coronavirus vaccine, leaving poor countries vulnerable to greater trauma. We experience the emboldenment of white supremacy and anti-democratic forces that increasingly inflict terror and violence on our values and society. We are sickened and angered by racial injustice in our streets, courts, and criminal justice system. And we are equally angered by structural racism in our institutions of society, including healthcare, hospitals, housing, and education. Now, I take inspiration from the adage to think globally and act locally. In that light, and as you are hearing from others, the college is reflecting and acting through policy, curriculum, practices, and events to address racial injustice. Departments are reshaping their curricula. Divisions are examining practices and celebrating the histories and achievements of Black scientists, educators, and literary greats. The Division of Inclusive Excellence, with partners across campus, is offering leadership and educational and inspirational programming to advance racial and social justice. We are auditing practices and policies to ensure that we follow through on the college-wide anti-racism priority that I set forth at the start of the school year. These are the vanguard of a formidable march to the more diverse, inclusive, and equitable community we envision and to which we again commit today. I am not the only person here who was moved by Amanda Gorman's inaugural poem, The Hill We Climb. Although the poem does not, in Gorman's words, quote, erase or neglect the harsh truths America needs to reconcile with, unquote, it is a poem of hope and unity. So it seems fitting that as we officially open Black History Month at TCNJ and fly the Pan-African flag, that I offer an excerpt from Gorman's work, reflecting on its resonance not only for the nation, but for our campus too. And she writes, "We are striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes, not to what stands before us, not to what stands between us, but to what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside." A year from now, I want to stand before you to share our progress as a campus committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions, on how we are closing divides, putting differences aside, and focusing with purpose on what stands before us. Thank you for your continued engagement with issues of racial justice and your efforts and actions to help forge our union with purpose. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Vice President for Inclusive Excellence, James Fulton III, who will offer reflections on the day.
Good afternoon, TCNJ community. Each year, Black History Month reminds us to honor and celebrate our ancestors for their resilience, their struggle for freedom and their ability to practice joy amidst the reality of terror, incivility, and hatred. And with so much more important work to do, it is also an opportunity to look back to see how far we've come. Black History Month is also a time for citizens and members of the community to unlearn and learn. It is an opportunity to unlearn the narrow or limited history commonly presented in most of our junior high and high school textbooks. You know, those narratives that would have us believe that Crispus Attucks, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, and Martin Luther King Jr. are all there is to know about Black history. I want to challenge all of us to take this moment to learn about the numerous contributions of Black and Brown and Indigenous people and their allies, so that we may learn the true narrative of Black people and Black culture, from slavery to excellence. I also want to encourage you to take this opportunity to learn about the rich legacy and history of Black history at TCNJ. Search the library databases, talk to your professors, the elders, and the many staff who are also alumni, who can tell you about the giants whose shoulders we stand on. And finally, be mindful that Black history is American history. I want to encourage all members of the campus community to explore and reflect on the past as well as the present. How do our contemporaries inform us about the past, current, and future state of Black America? And what are we doing to contribute to that history? Ask yourselves, are you bearing witness to, or are you contributing to the ongoing history and legacy of our collective history? So as we celebrate all that Black excellence has to offer, this month, let us dream like Martin, lead like Harriet, fight like Malcolm, think like Garvey, write like Maya, build like Madam CJ, speak like Frederick, educate like W.E.B., believe like Thorogood, challenge like Rosa, triumph like Obama, represent like Alicia, pontificate like Rock, ignite like Mark Lamont, enlighten like Eddie, inspire like Bria, teach like LeGarrette, empower like Piper, explore like Leanne, boom like African American Studies, mobilize like Stacy, and last but not least, shatter like Kamala. I hope you enjoy the array of programs and speakers scheduled for this year's celebration of Black History Month. Aluta continua. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dylan Chadwick, Programming Assistant for BSU.
I first want to thank the College of New Jersey for putting on this flag raising ceremony, as well as TCNJ's Black Student Union for allowing me to represent our organization. The resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement last year brought numerous pressing social justice issues to the forefront of the minds of many people around the globe. People listened, learned, and began to open discussions about the harsh realities that Black Americans face every day. I am proud to go to an institution that took the initiative to continue the discussion, bringing awareness to the situation, and encouraging others to learn. The development of the Comprehensive Action Plan for Inclusive Excellence at TCNJ, which was led by Mr. Vice President James Fulton, showed TCNJ's willingness to keep their promise on being as inclusive as possible. And while there is still much room for progress, it is rare that an institution prioritizes its stride to fostering an inclusive community. In a year where many of us have experienced something unimaginable, such as being in a global pandemic, it was the expectation for us to come together and stand united. However, fueled by bigotry, racial tension caused national division. While this might be what things look like on a national scope, I implore you all to hold on to that little ounce of hope. The hope that starts here on our campus, in our community, with you and with me. All throughout history, you can see Black individuals pioneering change, from Harriet Tubman to Martin Luther King to W.E.B. Du Bois. These influential leaders have made their mark on not just Black history, but American history. It is because of them I have the opportunity to stand here and speak with you all. Black History Month provides itself as a resource for remembering important people and events in the history of the African diaspora. It is a month filled with appreciation, culture, and celebration for those who have come before us. We get to celebrate the accomplishments and achievements of Black leaders who have made an impact in every sector of the world. You see, Black history is robust and it is always around us. And although for some, their work might not have been recognized during their time on earth, I'm glad that we are still here to educate and give them the recognition that they truly deserve. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for being here today. I'd like to start off by giving thanks to the Division of Inclusive Excellence for giving me the opportunity to speak before you all today. My name is Sunita Wicks, and I'm standing on behalf as a TCNJ's NAACP chapter member and a marketing chair of the Black Student Union. Prominent civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Darkness cannot drive out of darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out of hate, only love can do that." As we stand in the middle of a double pandemic, COVID and racism, it is important that we as a community learn from each other and allow our similarities to foster a loving environment. The raising of the flag embodies the essence of unity. It kicks off the month-long celebration of the Black history here at the College of New Jersey, the month in which we acknowledge the past and present struggles of Black and Brown people. We recognize that they are an essential part of America's history today. We give thanks to the heroes, both known and unknown, who have dedicated their lives to fight for equal footing in society and celebrate the achievements of the countless Black trailblazers and pioneers. Black history was created during a time in which stories and accomplishments of Black people were concealed from America's history, where once Blackness made them a threat to society. When the oppression of Black bodies was normalized, naturally, our people fought back. From the creation of NAACP to the Civil Rights Movement to the present time, the hashtag Black Lives Matter movement, one thing is certain, our fight hasn't ceased. It hasn't slowed down, it hasn't disappeared. The fight is happening now and will continue to grow until equality is viewed as a right and not a privilege. As we begin this month-long celebration of Blackness, educate yourself, learn something new, and recognize that Black lives do matter. And remember, Black is resilient, Black is beautiful, Black is extraordinary, and Black is empowering. Thank you for your time.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won, till victory is won.
Good afternoon. As Vice President Fulton has shared, Black History Month is American history. Black history is American history. It's celebrated in February, but for me, Black History Month is every day. I'm grateful for this moment. I'm grateful for this program. I'm grateful for you being a part of it. I thank you. I encourage you to become educated. I encourage you to take part in the programs that are going to be celebrated and presented this month. God has not promised me sunshine. That's not the way it's going to be. But a little rain mixed with God's sunshine, a little pain makes me appreciate the good times. Be grateful. Be grateful. God desires to feel your longings, every pain that you feel, he feels them just like you, but he can't afford to let you feel only good. So then you can appreciate the good times. Be grateful. Be grateful. Be grateful. Because there's someone else who's worse off than you. Be grateful. Because someone else would love to be in your shoes. Be grateful. My God said he'll never leave you. Be grateful. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. Be grateful. Be grateful. Oh, be grateful. I'm so grateful.
Good afternoon, President Foster, her cabinet, the Board of Trustees, administrators, faculty, staff, and most of all, the students here at the College of New Jersey. It is an honor and privilege to stand before you today. Today, we have come to raise the Pan-African flag. As all flags do, this flag has historical symbolism and importance. Flags make a statement. They mark territory. They are symbols of great pride. While here in the United States, I hear the words, "You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing." America's pledge allegiance to the flag, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, this all sounds good, doesn't it? But today, on February 5th, 2021, standing here as a Black man in America, I would love to feel these words in my heart and in my soul. However, just a month ago, in the nation's capital, on the streets originally surveyed by Benjamin Banneker, white supremacy further showed that we live in a country divided, a country where the land is bitter, not sweet, a country where peace is interrupted and justice for all is still too many, a far off dream. Yet, we come to raise the flag, a flag that symbolizes Black liberation. And in the year 2021, I should say, the struggle and fight for Black liberation here in this country. So the question one might ask is, should we raise this flag today? Here at the College of New Jersey, the flag will wave for a month. It will send a message upon sight. But is that message the reality once you park and walk amongst the people in our community? I will leave that for you to ponder. In its simplest form, one could ask the question, do Black lives truly matter? In 1967, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. addressed those assembled at the Southern Christian Leadership Convention and said these words, "During this era, the entire edifice of segregation was profoundly shaken. This is an accomplishment whose consequences are deeply felt by every Southern Negro in their daily life. 10 years ago, Negroes seemed almost invisible to the larger society, and the facts of their harsh lives were unknown to the majority of the nation. But today, civil rights is a dominating issue in every state, crowding the pages of the press and the daily conversations of white Americans. In this decade of change, the Negro stood up and confronted its oppressor. They faced the bullies and the guns, and the dogs and the tear gas. They put themselves squarely before the vicious mobs and moved with strength and dignity toward them and decisively defeated them. Now, almost 50 years later, during a pandemic, after a tumultuous presidency, while a nation is divided, when hate is robbing the nation of success and progress, Blacks, as King said, have straightened their backs up, realizing that no one can ride your back unless it's bent. Yes, Stacey Abrams changed the state of Georgia from red to blue. Raphael Warnock represents Georgia as the first Black senator. Kamala Harris is now the first Black vice president, the first woman vice president. Barack Obama has already been the first Black president. But 50 years later, Breonna Taylor was killed senselessly. George Floyd was murdered for the world to see. King's words echo, yet 50 years later. So we've come to this flag raising ceremony. And the College of New Jersey, I have 5 statements I'd like to ask. Yes, the flag will bring awareness, but will it land with awareness, or will there be acceptance? Will BIPOC people understand that they are accepted here at the College of New Jersey? Will the flag only be awareness, or will BIPOC people find true allyship? Will it stand for awareness, or will there be advocates? Will it just stand for awareness? And my brothers and sisters, will there be some accomplices, those that will go with us, fight with us, stand with us, speak with us? And most importantly, in the year 2021, will this flag stand just for awareness? Or will there be some agitators, those that don't need to be called in, those that don't need an occurrence to happen, those that don't need to be told Black Lives Matter, but will echo that Black Lives Matter? In the words of King, I must confess, my friends, that the road ahead will not always be smooth. There will still be rocky places of frustration and meandering points of bewilderment. There will be inevitable setbacks here and there will be those moments when the buoyancy of hope will be transformed into the fatigue of despair. Our dreams will sometimes be shattered and our ethereal hopes blasted. We may again, with tear-drenched eyes, have to stand before the bier of some courageous civil rights worker whose life will be snuffed out by the dastardly acts of bloodthirsty mobs. But difficult and painful as it is, we must walk on in the days ahead with an audacious faith in the future. And as we continue our charted course, we may gain consolation from the words so nobly left by the great Black bard, who was also a great freedom fighter of yesterday, James Weldon Johnson. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to a place for which our Father sighed? And just by us standing where we are today, you're standing in a place for what our fathers and mothers sighed. When you walk around this campus, you're standing in places for which our mothers and fathers died. When you travel up 95, you're traveling on a highway for which our mothers and fathers sighed. When you travel down 31 and up into the mountains, you're traveling in places for which our fathers and mothers sighed. We have come o'er a way that with tears have been watered. We have come treading the path through the blood of the slaughtered, out from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. Let this affirmation be our ringing cry. It will give us the courage to face the uncertainties of the future. It will give our tired feet new strength as we continue our forward stride toward the city of freedom. When our days become dreary with low hovering clouds of despair, and when our nights become darker than 1,000 midnights, let us remember that there's a creative force in this universe working to pull down the gigantic mountains of evil, a power that is able to make a way out of no way and transform dark yesterdays into bright tomorrows. So this flag today, as we raise it here at TCNJ, let us understand that this is no mere ritual or routine. This must be a statement, a genuine and authentic statement that Black lives matter here at the College of New Jersey, that Black women matter here at the College of New Jersey, that Black scholars matter here at the College of New Jersey, that Black faculty, staff, and administrators matter here at the College of New Jersey, that Blackness is etched in the fabric of this fine institution. We'd love to walk with you, but for those who hope that the Blacks just needed to blow off some steam and will now be content, you, my friends, will have a rude awakening if the school returns to business as usual, and there will be neither rest nor tranquility in America or Pennington Road in Ewing until the people who are marginalized, are granted the liberty and justice for all we were promised at the founding of this great country. Thank you.
What more is there to say that hasn't already been said? What more is there to reflect on that hasn't already been mentioned? We take the time now to thank each and every speaker, performer, artist that was here today. We want you to genuinely reflect on what was said and let the words reverberate not off your intellect, but off of your heart. And ask yourself the question on this February 5th, am I an accomplice? Am I walking alongside of those who are fighting for equality and liberation? Or am I standing in direct opposition of everything that the institution which we believe and love stand for? Today, let this reflection guide your thoughts. We thank you. We appreciate you for coming, and we hope that now as we turn to the raising of the flag, that moment of reflection would begin now. We hope that you have an amazing day and an amazing Black History Month. Thank you.